Hello, FewCandy here, and welcome back to Fewnilla County, and our downtown's now in. I am just so excited to keep expanding out this city. So pleased with how the skyline looks, and we've got all of this space still around it to fill out. So we're going to come on to that today, but just first, before we start, there are a couple of things that I have amended. So Todd Swinley suggested flipping this 180 degrees, which I have now done because this was just very much overshadowing the library and the metro station over here. And actually, I think that looks a lot better, so thank you, Todd, for that suggestion. Yeah, liking this with the big archway coming right next to our main road that will go through our park eventually. Yeah, great suggestion there. And also Paul Webb, you mentioned about how I still hadn't changed out the box trams. So we've done that now, and we finally got some nicer looking trams running around our downtown. So thank you again, Paul, for that reminder there. So today the plan is to come onto these sections over here, and we're going to be doing a government kind of law section over this side, and then something really special, adding a bit of history to Fewnilla County's downtown in this area right here. And probably along the way, I may start to expand out our Brooklyn and Queens district up here, expanding this out into this area because we have a very high need for people and our budget is okay, but with all of the unique buildings that we're plopping in at the moment around the downtown, it's definitely on the decline. So we want to get some more people in, get our tax revenues back up a little bit. So let's kick off today by looking at our little government courthouse district that we're going to put in this area here. So I'm going to start by just removing the kind of holding road that we had in. I'm going to place a road that is going to run around the first kind of main feature building in this area, which is going to be the courthouse. So if we come to our unique buildings, this is an asset I don't use very often, I will fully admit, but it's a big boy. But I think it'll go in really nicely here. Like, we've got some slightly lower levels this side, the big skyscrapers over here. So it's that kind of nice big height, but not so big that it's going to kind of dominate anything. So yeah, we're going to place that in there for starters, and we can do some nice kind of open plaza park area sort of detailing in front of it as well when we come to that. But let's just not forget to turn off this traffic light here. I don't want that on there because that's going to stop an awful lot of cars from coming off our main kind of like highway couplet that comes in behind the courthouse here. And then what we're going to do is run a road up alongside it here. And I'm forgetting that I can't do what I can do in CS2 now. It's interesting going between the two games, I will be honest. We're going to connect that actually right up into the couplet system just on this side, so not crossing over, which will give people another means to get out and onto there. So we'll just delete off that little bit. And I don't want parking out the front of it, but I don't kind of mind too much if people park on this road, but I think we will upgrade this section to one with grass lined, just so that we aren't kind of encouraging parking there. And we do have another traffic light as well, so let's deal with that. So in here, I'd also like to add in the government building, I'm thinking, because next to the Court of Law, I feel like it would be appropriate to have some government facilities. So let's go ahead and add this one in. And again, it's got this really nice kind of like open space in front of it, which I think it will lend itself nicely to some kind of plaza areas that we'll put in front of it here. Now, if we just check like the view coming out to it, so we're coming out of downtown over this side with monstrous traffic as well, which we do need to have a little look at. I feel like this traffic light here is stopping them from going. Like, yeah, we've got traffic backed up in all directions here, but if we remove it, it's going to cause some chaos. So we might just have to deal with a bit of downtown traffic, which I'm not opposed to. It is kind of realistic after all. But yeah, liking the position of these situated in there. And then another building that I thought that we could add to this was also actually the Central Intelligence Building. Or the intelligence agency building, I should say. A government building again, which kind of gathers information. I feel like that could be kind of appropriate to have around our main government building and also the Court of Law there. So let's go ahead and add that in. I am going to have a road that kind of stems around the back here. So I think we'll draw that. We'll draw it right up to that other road so that it connects in there. And then we're going to position the intelligence agency off the back of this. So I'm thinking on a road roundabout here. So let's go ahead and plot that in. And yeah, I definitely want to make sure that we've got a nice border around this, which is why I'm making sure we've got 5 squares deep here so we don't have any zoning, that we can do like a big fence around it to make it look like a very secure compound. That's what I quite like here. If this is going to be like MI5 or whoever the government intelligence agency is for Fewnilla County, then they definitely need a gated, very heavily fenced in, secure area to be positioned in. So I think that's what we'll go for there. So by way of fences, I'm actually thinking we might add in the airport fence, because I feel like it's kind of the most secure. If we have a little look at it, are the airport signs really obvious? They are a little bit, but it definitely has the like nicest sort of vibe of fence, I think, for this area. So we're going to go ahead and use this. I think I'll turn off snapping, and we're going to bring it just a little bit away from the edge of the compound here. So like that. Making sure that we're still leaving room for some zoning this side, which I'll come on to in a second. Then we're going to drag it all the way around our complex. I don't mind leaving this little entrance here. We could probably do some little prop work around that to sort of designate a security entrance. I'm thinking maybe one of those little booths or barriers from Railroads of Japan that we could put in here. I know it's a pedestrian pathway, but could we get away with something like that? Just as a bit of a security entrance here, perhaps with a little booth on the side. Maybe one of these. We'll have to use our imaginations a little bit for that, but I don't mind it too much, so I think we'll go for that there. And then just, can we draw this fence in any closer to this edge? We cannot, so we'll have to make do with that. We could actually add in another one of those prop buildings here, just to sort of signify that entranceway, like that, as a bit of a security measure. But then yeah, that gives us a nice, secure, fenced-in compound for our intelligence agency there. Now for the rest of the district, I'm actually going to paint in a district over this. So we'll go ahead and do that around the whole area like this. And we're actually going to give it the financial office buildings specialisation, which is always risky in vanilla because some of these buildings are honestly utterly horrific. So we'll have to see how this goes, but we are going to attempt to zone some of them in here. So I think we're going to do just like a small run of a few buildings on this side, and then also in this back section here. Now I want to be really careful that zones aren't coming out onto the roads that we don't want them to come out onto. So like here, this road, let's grab the same road that we've got and let's change the zoning so it's only on one side. Yeah, like that. And let's also do the same thing here so that it's not zoning out into the direction we don't want. And similarly, actually, this road, I want them to all kind of face this way. Although I don't mind if that's a corner piece too much, actually. So maybe we'll leave this and we'll see what we get in. But we do want to be very, very careful and very selective about these zones. So let's go super duper slowly with them and see what we get in here. Now, we might need to have a little bit of a population boost to encourage this. So I'm actually going to come back over here to our Brooklyn and Queens district, and we're going to extend this out up to about this point here. And I'm going to cut away a little section on this corner just so we can have a little bit of high density vanilla housing there. But then we are going to go ahead and pretty much mass zone in the rest of this. I would like a few more road networks through this block here because we've got this nice kind of wooded open area this side. So I think it would make a bit more sense for this to be a little bit more built up. Let's just turn angle snapping on here. Yeah, if we do something like that, I think that that'll be a little bit better. I've just realised I have changed the zoning, of course, because I've forgotten to retoggle that. So let's just update these ones here. And we might just get rid of some of that zoning on that corner so it's not right up to the edge of the road there. We're not getting in one by ones. And then we can continue to zone out some of these areas here. Now, same goes for this road. I want the zoning to follow the pattern we've used here, so we need to actually take it off this road. So let's find our 4-lane road with bicycle lanes, and we'll just toggle to one side, yeah, like this, and continue to upgrade that. And then we can add in a bit more zoning along here. I want to keep this archway quite clear, so we won't zone directly either side of it, but we'll add in zoning like that for now. And then in this space, it would be quite nice to offer them a park or something similar. So let's have a little look. I'm thinking maybe a sports park, because we haven't done like a nice tennis court or anything like that around here. So that could be fun to introduce. I think a tennis court would go quite nicely. It feels like a slightly more upper market area. So let's just add that into the side of this wooded area here. And then we could do a little path pattern around it as well, just to help it sit in a little bit better. So let's come from this corner and we'll turn off snapping, go for a nice kind of wavy path pattern, heading through the district and then just connecting up to this road over here. We could also introduce another little stem to it around the back of our tennis court, something along those lines. And we probably need a few more trees in here, maybe a bit of fencing, which we'll come on to in the detailing. But that should give us, yeah, that has given us quite a nice little population boost there. So that will help when it comes to getting in some of these offices, none of which have spawned in yet. So we'll probably need to just give them a little bit of time and see where we get to with those. And before I move on to the next area over here, I do want to give this little complex a name, and we're going to name it after one of my FewCandy patrons. So we're going to call it the Bailey Burns Government Offices. Thank you so much, Bailey, for all of your support on Patreon. It's really greatly appreciated. And here we have Bailey Burns running our Fewnilla County government. So we have started to get some of the financial district's buildings in, and I want to kind of historicalise them as quickly as I can before they grow up, because they grow into, frankly, monstrosities, as we know. I'm not like massively keen on this one, so I'm going to historicalise it for the moment, but we will see if we get anything else. I think I was too late for this one. But actually this one isn't so bad. The upgrade on this with the little glass extension to it isn't horrific. It's the really ridiculous tall towers that I'm definitely not a fan of. So yeah, we can historicalise that at that level and hope that that's okay, but I'm going to have to keep a keen eye on it to make sure we aren't getting ridiculous assets in. But in this next area, I do want to do something kind of special, and I'm taking a little bit of inspiration really from London for this actually. But we're going to be adding in a palace into a wonderful park area. Grounds is my thought for this. So actually I would like to use a pedestrian road here, and we'll go for a grass lined one for the moment. Maybe even a wide one actually, could be quite nice here, but we'll see about that. But let's just bring this across like this and get in our unique building, because yeah, what I would like here is the Amsterdam Palace, and I would like it very centralised to this little road here, so that yeah, when we're at our central plaza you can look down this road and see the palace at the other end of it, which I really enjoy. So yeah, that is what we're going to be placing in here, and then doing a quite substantial park area all the way around it. Have we left enough room? Oh, I'm using the wrong pedestrian road here. Go back to our bluestone. And have I left enough room to extend this around the size? I have just about, but I would like a little bit of wiggle room into this. Can we connect it into that? I don't know, we might have to force a few different connections in here, but it's going to be a little bit tricky to get the network in that I want. So what we might do actually here is upgrade this pedestrian road to a wider one. Of course, once we've moved our Amsterdam Palace, let's just move this over here for the time being. Let's upgrade this road, and then we can kind of trick, I'm hoping, this asset into staying here. So let's again just really importantly make sure that this entrance is centralised where we want it, which that is absolutely. And then let's come back, and I'm hoping this little upgrade will work, that it will stay connected, yes, to our roads, even if we remove that connection there. So it doesn't seem like we're going to be super able to connect in that, which is quite annoying, but actually we can bring this road back not quite as far, to about here I think, yes, and then bring this one across. Again, I'm kind of turned off snapping, and I'm using some of the zoning guides to make sure that we're getting this in reasonably parallel. So if we come up to here, we should be able to run this along the back, and then hopefully connect into this intersection here, which it's obviously not going to like. I think we can just make this work though. It did work when I was testing it. It's just a little bit finicky. So yeah, we can have that coming out like that, and then let's connect this up. So we'll come straight for a little bit further, and then let's actually just do a bit of a round bend on this side. And then we're going to keep this pedestrian path flowing all around this complex. So something like this is what I'm envisaging for this, and then we'll do some really nice, highly detailed grounds around it. But if we just try and upgrade that to a wider road, I think that this will be a nicer entrance to it if we've got that going on there. We could even go for the ones on the outside so it sort of mirrors this pattern we've got the on the street running up to it. So we go in and find our Eastern Cottonwoods. Would that look quite nice? And yeah, I think I quite enjoyed that. So we'll go for that there. We do have a tiny bit of concrete annoyingly showing through in the front here, but it's still very much connected. So hopefully we can actually do a little bit more detailing around here because we've got the space that we could potentially add some props in. And we do, which is amazing news actually. So yeah, we can definitely add in some more of these kind of like tourist information booths. We could even add in fencing around this potentially as well. So I'm thinking maybe just the regular park fence would probably look quite nice around the front of this. And then we could definitely follow it around to indicate where the grounds are for the main palace as well. Yeah, I think that that would be a pretty nice touch actually here. We're going to have to bear with the fact that tourists are just going to walk through our lovely fences here, but that's okay. I think it's the kind of overall effect of what we're going for ultimately. Because I want it to be kind of Buckingham Palace style, where that's all gated in, but obviously we haven't got gates in vanilla, so we won't be doing that, but we're going for our own take on it, I suppose, here. So just before we come on to do the detailing, I do just want to have a little look at this area here. Now I had kind of left this as a vanilla block because what I wanted was the tower blocks like how we did over here. So a couple of these kind of sticking up in between the buildings I always think looks quite nice, and that's just that extra layer of height into what can be kind of a very flat, one-dimensional, very single-heighted style of district like this. So we definitely want to add those in a few more places. I do also want to recognise the fact we do have a metro station here too. So I'm actually thinking let's just remove these couple of houses here and we'll replace this with a little bit of just low density commercial. Again, forgetting I can't remove the zones without right clicking, unlike in CS2. So yeah, we'll just have a little bit of low density commercial in this space here. Remove that tree there, which is kind of surrounding where that metro station is. And actually, interestingly, the noise pollution from this station isn't so bad that high density housing will be upset by it. So that is very good news indeed. Like if we tried to put high density housing anywhere in the centre here, it's going to have major problems with noise pollution, but one single metro station, absolutely fine. So I am actually going to extend this district out a little bit in the centre here, and we'll have a little bit more Brooklyns and Queens, and then extend out to some vanilla housing, I think the other sides of it. So again, I'm actually just going to mass zone a little bit riskily these sections here for the time being, and we'll see what we get in there. Similarly here, I do want to upgrade this road, so let's go ahead and do that to get rid of the zoning on this side, just so it stays nice and flat against the road that we have here. And again, we'll just have some vanilla high density housing there and see what we get in. Now we have to be very selective about those assets, as I'm sure you know, and actually I've just realised it's taken up that one there, which I don't want. So let's try and get that back by just squeezing the district this side. And we might want to let some of the vanilla ones upgrade a little bit rather than historicalising them straight off the bat. Like this one's basically the same height as the Brooklyn and Queens asset, so that's kind of defeating the object for me, but these are all coming in a little bit different. I don't mind this one, so I think we'll keep this one on the corner here, but we'll let some of these other ones upgrade. This one does not upgrade into a nice asset from memory, so I think we'll keep that one too. But let's just give that a little bit of time. And then up along this road, we do have quite heavy commercial demand, so I'm actually just going to put in a very small district along here, which we are going to assign the modern city centre theme to. And then we're going to zone in some high density commercial all the way up this road. So we're going to have a really nice long strip of it. We'll leave a gap to connect into this back street here. But yeah, it's going to be a big long strip of that modern city centre assets, which are very nice assets. So let's actually just upgrade this road to get rid of the zoning on this side. And that's not the side that we want it. So let's actually just get rid of all the zoning and then reset it like that. And then we can continue the pattern on up this side of the street too. So we'll give that a little bit of time and see what we get in there. I am thinking I might want to mix in a bit more high density over this side, so we'll just do a couple more smaller blocks. I think we're going to be very specific about the designs here, so we're going to have a few tower blocks rather than anything else. So I'm going to zone very specific shapes in here and see what we get. But I think with that it is now time to come on to some detailing, so a slightly shorter episode than normal today. But there is an awful lot of detailing to do. The main thing is going to be the grounds around the Amsterdam Palace over here, and of course filling in a lot of these gaps and selecting the very random financial district assets that we're getting in there. And then just tidying up this little district over here, making sure we're getting the assets in that we want. And a little bit of fence and tree detailing, I think, to go in around here as well would be a nice touch. So I really like how this Amsterdam Palace has turned out here, particularly this view down from the main roundabout in the centre here. Just seeing that palace at the end of this tree-lined road I think is really quite nice indeed. And then we come up here and I've just done some basic detailing. So we've got the fence obviously all around the inner section to kind of mark the palace grounds, and we've added in a little flower fountain decoration piece in the middle here, which I think came out pretty nice actually, just with the bushes and the rhododendrons in the middle and a couple of ornate trees just to finish that off. Another little feature of this little gazebo, pagoda, I'm not sure what you would call it, at the back of the palace over here, and then yeah, very much kind of tree lined, bush lined all around the fences as we go around. So yeah, liking how that's turned out. Nice simple tree border on the other side, and I did add in a cafe over here as a bit of a kind of pedestrian tourist point. They can stop off and get their lunch while they're visiting the palace grounds, and yeah, it's lovely seeing all these people flowing all throughout this park. Once we start building up this side as well, that's just going to increase the pedestrian volume through here, but really liking how it sits in with the green space as well in the middle of all of this downtown mayhem. And then over to the law district, as we'll call it, the government offices over here, the Bailey Burns government district. In fact, yeah, the financial district buildings have actually come in okay. I'm not too bothered by them. Some of them actually upgraded, but they upgraded to this sort of glass extra extension, which I didn't mind as much as some of the towers. I've let a couple of them go up to the towers because again, it just adds that little extra bit of height. Right next to our downtown as well, we want to kind of transition away from that, so we don't want everything looking too low over here. But yeah, pretty pleased with how these little streets look, particularly with the little flags. I think it's quite nice around the government district. Obviously we've then got in our secure MI5 building, and then this little group over here with some nice kind of grounds behind them. I think that sits in pretty well. I'm not too keen on this corner asset, but it goes. So yeah, I think we've made the best of the financial district buildings there for sure. And then in front of the courthouse, just did a very simple little plaza design with some of the amusement park paths, which I just thought added a bit of extra colour into the area, which I quite liked. And then the rest of it really was sorting out all of these buildings over here. So we've got this office that I've let upgrade. I'm not too sure about it. I really want some of the other offices around it to upgrade. And some of them are pretty close, like this one for example. Hopefully that'll turn into a bit more of a tower and we'll get another little pop in height here rather than just having that solo building all by itself. And then some of the vanilla assets are very questionable. So again, I'm just waiting for these to upgrade before we see what comes in to historicalise a lot of them. But I do like the kind of slightly different dynamic that it offers to the Brooklyn and Queens assets. Like you get this kind of little rise over here, which I'm actually pretty keen on, so I don't mind this too much. I just hope that this asset in particular disappears. The rest of them are okay for now, but we'll see what we get when they upgrade further. And then we just done a little bit of detailing around the shops. I actually had to abandon the shops this side because the noise pollution was just too much for the residential, but like this, they seem to be settling in fine. Like we haven't got any warnings, if I just show you that at all for noise pollution, because we've got this quite dense tree border blocking it off here. So it does show pretty red on the heat map on these buildings, but they don't seem to be suffering actually at the moment. So I think we're okay with this level of commercial. Mixed in a bit of offices behind here, like I said, and then actually added in a bit more Brooklyn and Queens along this street, which I thought was nice. Next to the Amsterdam Palace, we come down here. You can see we kind of get these big offices and the big skyscrapers around this side, and as you spin round, you get these nice little row houses from Brooklyn and Queens. So really like the effect of that, particularly with the office tower behind them. Although, like I said, I just hope we get at least one more building of a similar stance from these office buildings behind here. But it's quite a nice little office park actually. A few little car parks dotted in amongst it. Then some of the buildings sit in pretty well actually, I think, next to all of this residential. And then we just finished it off with a tiny bit of detailing around this archway over here. So we've got some pedestrian paths coming and going between them, a little hedge border around it just to help it sit in a bit better, and added some trees around these houses as well to shelter them from this very busy main road. Like the flow of pedestrians and cyclists and cars as well up here is quite astounding. I didn't think this many people would walk, particularly when there are some pretty good public transit links for them. And we do have quite high public transit usage as well, so if I just show you that. There is a lot of people using our metro system, which is great to see. Also the rail system and the trams going around the centre as well are pretty well utilised now too. Obviously we'll need to keep expanding that out as we keep expanding our downtown and maybe reorganise some of the routes as we grow as well. But for now it seems to be working and people seem quite content to literally walk all the way up and down this very long road indeed. So yeah, lots and lots of activity around the downtown, particularly now with the addition of these extra unique buildings over here. So really pleased with how it's looking and how it's all sitting in. But for today, that is going to be it. So if you have enjoyed the episode, likes, comments and shares are really greatly appreciated. And please keep those suggestions coming in the comments below. Any little changes you might want or other extra builds that you would like to see in the downtown, please do let me know. We've got a lot of space still to fill, so there's a lot more unique builds coming very, very soon. But that is all from me for now. So thank you so much for tuning in and I'll catch you again next time. Bye bye.